the Mini Workshop Series podcast, dedicated to your continuous learning. The Mini Workshop Series podcasts are crafted to enhance and reinforce your learning after you had experienced the live Mini Workshop Series workshop.
Decision making. Welcome. Our topic today is decision making. Our success depends on the quality of the decisions we make. Making a decision is more than choosing what to do. For a manager, it is necessary to understand that a decision is a judgment or choice between two or more alternatives. Decisions arise in an infinite number of situations, from the resolution of a problem to the implementation of a course of action. It is the thinking process leading to the selection of a course of action among variations. Decision-making involves perception and judgment. We look at reality and name what we see, and we make sense of reality by manipulating our language. It involves making a commitment, however small, both rationally and emotionally. A decision's effectiveness depends on the context in which we make it. Remember, the context is dynamic and changes over time. Ownership is critically important if the decision is to be successful. It is generally agreed that it should be taken at the lowest possible level of authority and the highest possible level of competence. Let's look at the decision cycle, which makes out of three key areas. 1. Identifying the problem. 2. Identify and generate alternatives. 3. Eliminating the alternatives. It may seem redundant that the first stage is identifying the problem. However, it has been proven over and over again that most of the challenges in making decisions lie in the first stage. If you can clearly state your problems, you're halfway there to solving it. Most people seem stuck in problems and yet cannot define specifically what is it that is the problem. When you are identifying the alternatives, use the Pareto's rule of vital few and trivial many. Helps in setting up of the priorities. It is a very simple technique that helps you to choose the most effective changes to make. Pareto rule concentrates on the significant 20% and gives the less important 80% lower priority. Another method used to identify and generate alternatives is the fishbone, also known as the Ishikawa diagram. It enables us to focus on the overall problem, find more than one cause or problem, and help discuss challenges in groups. Fishbone is used to counter possessiveness of ideas in group decision-making and establish logical sequence of actions. When faced with any problem, it's tempting, especially in today's frenzied business world, to either take the easiest route or rely on the old, tried and true methods. Generating possible courses of action is the most creative part of the decision-making process. You can do that by three simple ways. 1. By assessing the quality of information you receive, because it determines the quality of decisions you make. 2. By being creative, you can use a number of techniques to help us see the problem in different ways and reveal new potential ways of dealing with it. 3. By constantly focusing on the how-to thinking. Our thinking when generating alternatives has left us many possible courses of action. We must now sift the feasible from the possible. Elimination of feasible alternatives is a matter of taking each option and appraising it against established criteria and considering the possible consequences of implementing it. We can do that by resolving them into one clear choice, either this or that. Another method is using the appraisal criteria by itemizing and recording our criteria of choice in order to make sense of complexity and to help us justify our decision to others. You can also use a simple method of accessing a course of action by making a pros and cons list in 2 columns down a page. Again, making a decision will result in action. That action will take place in the future. Accessing the possible consequences of a decision is therefore of the utmost importance. In accessing consequences, we are thinking in terms of probability. Some consequences will be certain to happen with 100% probability. Others seem completely unlikely. Most will be less easy to put a number to. Putting a number against our assessment is an excellent discipline. You must balance the risk against rewards. A decision will always involve other people. We'll need to bear the consequences of our decision to those who implement it and those whose work will change because of it. So to sum it up, remember to use the or in our decision making. O, objectives you are seeking to attain, A, alternatives you sense are available to you, and R, risk of the alternative you are considering. Remember, it's not knowing what to do, it is doing what you know.
We trust you have enjoyed this podcast. Keep in mind, it's not how much you know, but what you do with what you know that matters. So take massive action now and empower yourself for success. Thank you for listening to Mini Workshop Series podcast, brought to you by Mini Workshop Series, a new approach and fresh perspective to corporate training.